Hi there, welcome to this Envato Tuts Plus course, How to Design a Project Proposal in Adobe InDesign. If you're looking to win new projects as a freelancer or for your business, beautifully designed proposals can really help you to leave a lasting impression on your clients. My name is Grace Fussell, I'm a graphic designer based in the UK, and I'm going to show you how designing creative proposals doesn't need to be intimidating or time-consuming once you know a few design tips and techniques for good practice. So you may be thinking, what exactly is a proposal? So proposals are smartly designed brochures which introduce a client to your business and let them know how you would approach a design brief that they've set for you. Proposals can either supplement or replace face-to-face pitching and can be sent as printed documents or as PDF attachments. In this course, you'll learn how to create proposal designs that are super professional and look amazing. We'll learn how to edit proposal templates in InDesign, adapting them to make them unique and completely tailored to your own purposes. You'll also learn how to design beautiful, creative proposal documents from scratch using InDesign, creating an attention-grabbing cover, formatting awesome typography, and working with contents pages, masters, colour palettes, and text styles. Whether you're a seasoned user of InDesign or you're relatively new to the software, you'll build up your familiarity with the program slowly. By the end of the course, you'll know exactly how to create a proposal document at the drop of a hat, as well as having picked up lots of transferable print design skills that you can use to create magazines, brochures, books, and other print media. So if you're looking for a new creative way of winning exciting new projects, as well as honing your publishing design skills, this course will be a brilliant fit for you. I'm really looking forward to welcoming you on board, and I hope you're excited to get started. Proposals are a tried and tested technique that businesses use to win new client projects. Proposals are used by small businesses like design agencies and startups, as well as large consultancy firms like architects and lawyers, to help convince clients that they are the right people to choose over competing businesses. So some businesses might opt to do a face-to-face pitch as well as presenting a proposal document. If your proposal is well designed, clearly structured, and easy to navigate, it's not always necessary to have to pitch as well. Some businesses might opt to do a face-to-face pitch as well as presenting a proposal document, but if your proposal is well designed, clearly structured, and easy to navigate, it's not always necessary to have to pitch as well. If you want to grow your creative business, whether as a sole trader or small business, learning how to produce your own elegant, beautifully designed proposals will help you to stand out against your competitors and win more exciting and interesting work. Here on Envato Elements, you can find a wide range of proposal templates that you can download and customize with your own content, but it's also a really good resource just for finding some inspiration for creating your own proposal designs. So there are some common elements you can find across a wide range of proposals. They all have a nicely designed cover with the business name and the name of the recipient, which is also really important. A contents page is useful for helping readers to navigate through the document easily, and it's particularly handy for time-strapped clients who need to find certain bits of information really quickly. A proposal might also contain a Meet the Team page, a summary of your business and company ethos, and then the bulk of the proposal will usually be devoted to breaking down the client brief and how it will be approached, timeframes for delivery of the work, and also cost estimates. If you're in the States, a letter page size is the normal format for proposals. If you're in the UK or elsewhere, A4 is normally the standard. This is helpful if you're sending your proposal over email, as it means that the client can easily print it off without any issues. In this course, we're not going to look at the text content of proposals, but instead how you can create an appealing design for your proposal, which balances both professionalism and creativity. The look of your proposal is really important because it helps the proposal to stand out against others. It ensures the reader is engaged with what you have to say for longer, and it also gives the client a really good feel for your business. Subtle design decisions can make a huge difference to the look and feel of your proposal. So opting for a geometric sans serif over a serif font, for example, can lift your design from more corporate territory to a cleaner, more contemporary look that might be better fit for a youthful startup, for example. Researching colour trends across other media like advertising and editorial design and applying these to your proposal can also send the message to the recipient that you're the sort of company that's very aware of current trends and is able to produce cutting-edge design work for their clients. Researching colour trends across other media like advertising and magazine design, and applying these to your proposal can send the message to the recipient that you're the sort of company that's very aware of current trends and is able to produce cutting-edge design work for their clients. You might have an idea about the sort of style or branding that would be appropriate for your proposal, but equally you might be a bit unsure about the sort of look that you'd want to aim for. In the lessons to follow, we'll download a proposal template from Envato Elements that has a simple, modern look that would look great for a range of businesses. The elements that define the look of your proposal are actually very simple, including the fonts, the colour palette, and the choice of photos and graphics. So first up, we'll look at how you can adapt an existing template like this one, and tweak some of the elements to give a very different feel to the design, to make it instantly more unique and creative. In the later part of the course, we'll develop these skills and we'll work towards creating a complete proposal from the ground up, which is a great choice if you want to have complete control over the look and layout of your document. In the next video, we'll look at the software and resources you'll need to follow along with the course lessons, and then we can dive in and start creating some really great proposals. Because proposals are made up of multiple pages and they combine text and graphics, a publishing program like Adobe InDesign is ideally suited for creating them. To adapt the template and create your own proposal from scratch, you'll need to have access to Adobe InDesign. If you don't already have the software installed, you can download the desktop app from the Adobe website at the link listed here. If you're unsure about whether to commit to buying an InDesign subscription, you also have the option to download a 7-day free trial of the software, which would allow you enough time to complete this course if that's what you prefer to do. We won't be dipping into other software during this course, but if you'd like to edit photos or create vector graphics like logos and icons for your proposals in the future, you'd also find it handy to have access to a photo editing program like Photoshop, and also vector software like Illustrator or Inkscape. But as I say, during this course, we're just going to be working in InDesign, and I'm actually going to show you some ways you can apply interesting effects to your images directly in InDesign, like colour overlays and gradients, as well as how to create your own stylish shapes and graphics in the program. You can find a list of resources attached to this lesson, which takes you to the relevant links on Envato Elements. You'll need to download a proposal template from Elements, which will adapt using our own choice of fonts and images. So take a look at the resource list when you get the chance, and you can do your prep for the next lesson by downloading the items listed on there. In the next lesson, we'll get started by looking at how you can find a proposal template that's really going to suit your requirements, and share some tips for how to spot templates which are really going to be the right fit for you. So I'll see you over there in just a moment. If you've ever looked longingly at a beautifully designed proposal, the chances are it's been adapted from an existing template. There's no shame in using an InDesign template to create your proposal document. In fact, it's a tried and tested method used by professional designers when they want to save a bit of time. Using a template also doesn't mean you have to be limited creatively. You should see a template as a handy foundation for creating your own unique design. The fiddly, time-consuming aspects of creating a proposal from scratch, such as formatting master pages and tables of contents, that's already been done for you, so you can spend more time on experimenting with the aesthetics of the design, such as editing colour palettes and fonts. In this lesson, I'm going to show you where you can track down templates and how you can filter through the wide range of templates on offer to find something that's going to fit the bill. So, where to start? You're going to want a site that offers a wide range of quality templates with plenty of variety. Envato Elements is a really great option for proposals as it has a really wide range of professionally designed templates. So let's head over to Elements and take a look what's on offer. So here we are on the main site. Just type proposal into the search bar and then click on graphic templates. So you've got a whopping 517 templates to choose from. So how do you choose the right one for you? So you might have an idea about the sort of aesthetic style that would suit your business. Maybe it's more corporate, so something like this Corpo Biz template would be a good visual fit. Or maybe you want something that would better suit a creative business or a startup, in which case this creative proposal might be a better fit style-wise. My top tip for you when looking for a template is actually to try to dismiss the visual style of the template, because this is the easiest element that can be changed. A corporate template style, for example, can be instantly made a bit funkier with a brighter colour choice or a more interesting font style. Instead, you really want to make sure that the template has the structure in place that's going to make your job of editing it much easier. So let's take a look at an example of a template that has a really good structure to show you just what I mean. This proposal template has a pretty unassuming look. Sure, it's nice and stylish and modern, but its main advantage is that it's got such good bones and structure. So it comes in 2 page sizes, A4 and US letter, which makes it flexible for either American or European companies. It's also really lengthy with 24 pages that you can easily cut down if you need to. Let's take a look at the preview images. Okay, so it's got a simple grid-based cover layout which could be easily tweaked to make it look a bit more exciting. It has a table of contents which has an attractive, simple layout. It has running headers and page numbers across each page, elegantly designed headers and subtitles with lots of white space. Things like icons and photos can be easily swapped, so there's no need to dwell on that, though the icons could be a nice touch. All in all, you've got a wide range of varied page layouts, some more text heavy, others with more dominant images, which is going to give you plenty of flexibility in the way that you can work. A project timeline page that is compelling with a slight infographic look to it is really handy. You've also got tables set up on the budget page, which again saves you a job. All in all, it's got a nice mix of stylish pages that will sell your proposal, as well as more formal pages that contain tables and text, which can be particularly time-consuming to create from scratch. This is the template we're going to download and adapt over the course of the next few lessons. But when you come to pick your own templates in future, you want to look for a good structure to the design, plenty of page layouts to work with, and some of the more fiddly elements like tables and running headers already set up for you. In terms of style, a clean, simple look is always easier to adapt and make more interesting than working backwards from something overly fancy. So you can find the link to this template in the resources list attached to the course. What I'd like you to do is download this particular template from Envato Elements, and in the next lesson we'll open it up in InDesign and take a look at what we've got. You've selected and downloaded a template, great job. Before you dive straight into editing your proposal and making it look even more fabulous, it's a good idea to acquaint yourself with the way that the document has been created in InDesign and get to know how the master pages, layers, styles, the colour swatches and also the grids have been set up. Inside the folder you've downloaded, you'll probably have a few files. Normally there'll be a PDF or text document listing the fonts that you need to download, and in this case you're lucky also to have some more guidance about how the layers, styles and images have been arranged. Here you also have the option to go for an A4 or letter page size for your proposal. So let's open up the US letter folder. If you're using an early version of InDesign such as CS4 or CS5, you might need to open the IDML version of the file. For later CS6 and CC users, the INDD file should open just fine. I'm using CC, so I'm going to open the INDD version. You might be prompted with a warning message saying that you're missing links. That's no problem, that's just the missing images which we'd be looking to replace anyway. If you've installed the fonts described in the help document, you shouldn't miss fonts, but sometimes these can install in funky ways, so you might need to click on a Find Font button and manually reassign these. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're working with here. Let's go to View, Display Performance, and switch on High Quality Display. The first thing to check out is the layers. It can be really frustrating when you're trying to edit something and you can't select it, and this is probably because it'll be sitting on a locked layer. Okay, so most of these are pretty self-explanatory. We've got text, graphics, photos, background. Guide doesn't seem to contain very much. Master background is probably for the master page content, which we can take a look at in a moment. In terms of layers, you'll want to be coming back and forth to these and locking them and unlocking them as you work, so you can keep content from shifting around by mistake. And also these layers are just going to help you keep organised, which honestly when you're working with these long InDesign documents, it's just going to help you keep your sanity. Right, next thing to look at is the master pages. I really love masters in InDesign, they are so handy. These allow you to repeat consistent elements like running headers and guides across lots of pages, so you're not just copying and pasting content for hours. You can find the masters at the top of the Pages panel. So in this template we're dealing with 3 masters. The bottom master, called One Master, you can see is applied to the front cover and the back cover only, and it just contains a very simple grid. The D master is made up of 2 facing pages, or a single spread as we call it. This master contains running headers and page numbers which are sitting on the master background layer. And note that because this layer is at the top of the layer sequence, this is going to ensure that the page numbers and headers are always above other content, which means they are always visible. This master has a nicely uniform grid with columns and rows, allowing you to place text frames and images in various different positions and at different sizes. And you can see that this D master has been applied to almost all the pages in the proposal, which puts those page numbers and headers and the grid across all of the relevant pages. Finally, we have the F master, which is very similar to the D master, also having headers and page numbers, but with one difference in that the grid has been extended across the inside margins of the spread. If we look at the spread this is applied to, we can see why. On this page, which features a project timeline, the timeline graphics cross the spine of the spread, making this into a pair of pages that feel more like a unified whole than some of the other spreads. Another thing you'll want to check out is the styles used in the document. These determine how text formatting can be easily transferred across different text frames. So go to Window, Styles, and Paragraph Styles. And yep, that's a lot of styles, but it's nothing to be frightened of. These actually are going to really help you save time when it comes to formatting the text in your document. So if we click on this project timeline header, you can see the main big title style is highlighted. The row headers have been saved as an H5 style. This grey title over on the right hand page, when we highlight it, we can see this has been set as an S2 style with an underline. The smaller text beneath it is a body 1 style. So we've already worked out that we have H for headers, S for subtitles, and body for body text. So what is NR? Well, if we scroll up to page 7 and highlight one of the numbers, we can see this has a lined NR or lined number style applied to it. So the NR folder contains all the styles applied to numbers in the document, so it's really well organised. All you need to know about using styles in a template is 2 things. One is that you can keep the existing style as it is and then apply extra formatting to text on top of that. So for example, on the front cover page, an extra bit of colour has been applied to the word brochure, which brings up this little plus symbol next to the style. So you can add your own little extras to text like colour or an underline, while still preserving the main features of the original style. The other thing to know is that you can redefine styles in your document. So what does this mean? This means you can change the font and formatting of a single example of text which has a style applied to it, and then redefine the style, which applies it to all other instances of that style in the document. This might sound a bit complicated, but in practice it's not at all. We'll look at how to do it in a couple of lessons' time. For now, let's move on and check out the last thing you need to be aware of when using a proposal template, and that is colour. Your template will have a pre-saved palette of colour swatches, which you can view in the Swatches panel, which is at Window, Colour, Swatches. Because this proposal is formatted for print, the swatches are in CMYK mode. You don't want to be using any RGB swatches if you're creating a document for print. So we've got a very simple range of colours, which are mainly monochrome, varying levels of grey, and one accent colour, which is yellow. We're going to look at how to give your proposal an update through colour in a few lessons' time. So once you know your way around the layers, masters, styles and swatches in your template, you've got a really good foundation for moving forward with adapting the template to exactly how you want it to look. In the next lesson, we'll look at a couple of techniques for adapting your template really easily. Once you know your way around your template, you can start to think about how you might want to adapt it to make it more relevant to your purposes. In this lesson, I'm going to walk you through the process of adapting your template's content. The first thing you're going to want to change is probably the text content of your proposal. This is super easy and quick to change. Let's scroll down to page 4, which is the About Us page. So to change any text on your document, you're going to need to get familiar with the Type tool, which you can find in the Tools panel over here on the left side of the workspace, or simply hit T on your keyboard. So with this tool, you can set your cursor into existing text frames, you can highlight text, and also you can create new text frames. So you might be happy to manually type your text content into your InDesign document, but it's likely that for at least longer pieces of text, you might have some copy saved in a separate Word document or in an email, and it's really simple to work with copy in outside documents. Simply open up the copy document, select and copy the text. Back in InDesign, use the Type tool to highlight the text that you want to replace and go to Edit and Paste, and the text formatting in the proposal will be preserved. If you want to practice pasting in text from another document, you can find this About Us copy as a Word and PDF document attached to this lesson. So let's work our way over this page, replacing the title, the subtitle, the name at the bottom, and also the quote text as well. Awesome. Okay, so the other basic thing that you'll want to be able to edit is the image content in your document. Most templates won't be provided with the images used in the previews, but often, as is the case here, you can see a fuzzy preview of the original image with a small red question mark at the top of the image frame, showing you that the link to the image is broken. Attached to this lesson, you'll also find a folder of sample images called Sample Images for About Us page, which you can download if you want to follow along with the steps here as I do them. So pause the video and get that folder downloaded if you like. Okay, so with our images ready to use, we can start to replace the images on our document. There are two ways you can replace images. One is to use the default selection tool to select the image frame, and then head up to File and Place. Navigate to the folder of images, choose the image that you want. Here I'm going for Group Shot, and then click Open. And from here you can select the image inside the frame by clicking on the circle symbol in the centre and holding down Shift while you scale it up and down. The other option is to click on the red question mark symbol by the image frame, and this instantly opens up a Finder window. From here you can find the new image that you want and replace it by clicking Open. It really is that easy to change the text and image content in your template. Super simple, and it doesn't need to take a lot of time. Swapping in your images can actually have a really big impact on the look of your template, but generally the style of your template is still going to look pretty similar. So in the next lesson, we'll look at how you can refine text styles in your template, which can really transform the overall look of your proposal. So keep your template open in InDesign, and I'll see you over in the next lesson in just a moment. As well as changing content such as text and images in your proposal, you can also flex your creative muscles when it comes to customizing your template. Over the next 3 lessons, I'm going to show you 3 ways you can give your template a completely unique look. By the end, it won't be obvious at all that you used a template in the first place. In fact, you could probably tell your colleagues that you created it from scratch. It will be our little secret. Okay, so one of the most transformative methods for customizing a template is to switch up the fonts and typographic formatting in your document. And this is so fun. I love playing around with typography. The best bit about working with a template is that you can play around with the font and formatting and then simply redefine the paragraph style, which applies the new formatting to all other instances of the style. So let's look at just how to do that. So first, we need to think about the sort of font style we might want to use in our template. At the moment, we have a serif font, which is Playfair Display for the headers, and a sans serif Railway for the subtitles and body text. A simple way of making the design look more unique would be to reverse this, changing the headers to a sans serif and the body text to a serif. From Envato Elements, I'm going to pick 2 fonts to swap into my proposal. Let's look for the sans serif first. So on Envato Elements, go to Browse and Fonts and sans serif. If you prefer, you can browse through the selection and pick a font of your own choice. I'm going to opt for Bergen Text. I just really like this font. It's got a really bouncy, friendly style, and I think it's going to add a bit more character to my proposal. So once you've picked a font, download it and install it onto your computer. Let's head back to the template document and try it out. So scroll up to page 3 in the template, which is the contents page. Select the main headers text frame with your selection tool and then switch to the type tool. You'll notice that this switches the options now showing on the top controls panel, which now give you the character formatting options. So let's change the font first. So open up the font menu and type in BER. And there we go. So let's choose Bergen Text in the bold weight. Okay. So this shifts the baseline of the text up a bit. So to keep everything a bit more nicely spaced, let's increase the font size to 68 points. And let's also space out the 2 lines of text by increasing the leading to 62 points. Cool. I really like the look of that. So what I'm going to do is redefine that as a header style for the whole document. So in the paragraph styles panel, right click on the main big title style and choose redefine style. And now when you scroll through the document, you'll notice that all the headers have switched to the new style. So how handy is that? You might need to expand some text frames if any text is overflowing and do a bit of shuffling about. But otherwise, by redefining the style, you've given your whole proposal an instant makeover in just a few steps. Let's keep this technique going by swapping in a different font for some of the body text too. So back in Envato Elements, let's see what serif fonts we have on offer. I actually really love serif fonts for body text. They can look really elegant and they still look very modern when they're paired with more modern sans serif headers. So you can go ahead again and make your own choice or go along with what I'm going to pick, which is going to be Addington CF. So get that downloaded and installed onto your computer, and when you're ready, head back to InDesign again. So for editing the body text styles, it makes sense to start on a page that is a bit more text heavy. So scroll on down to page 6, which has the title, The Working Process. And here we've got lots of different styles to adjust. So let's start with the subheading below Working Process. Select the text frame as before and switch to the Type tool. Let's change the font to Addington CF and choose a medium weight. Let's switch off all caps to make the text lowercase, which I think suits this font style a bit better. Looks to me like the sizing and leading is pretty good. So back to the paragraph styles panel, and on the H4 style, right click and choose redefine style. Awesome. Let's keep going. Select the small subheading reading Analyze the Brief and set the font of this to Addington CF Bold. And let's up the font size a little to 15 points, and then right click and choose redefine style. Okay, interesting. You can see that the sizing has been applied but not the font. And the reason for this is that the original text frame that we edited had an enhanced version of the style applied to it. But there's no need to panic, it's really easy to sort out. So just select the text frames, and once you've done that, click on the style name and that will reset the style. Okay, cool. So now we can apply the Addington CF font to the body text below the Analyze the Brief heading. So let's go for a regular weight and increase the font size just slightly to 10 points. And then right click and redefine style as before. And we'll have to do the same process, selecting all the text frames and clicking on the style to reset it. For any text that's paired with other paragraph styles in the same text frame, like over here on the right hand page, simply put your type tool cursor in the paragraph and click on the style name to reset it for that paragraph. So there we have it. So you can start to see that by tweaking the font and formatting of your text, you're really starting to give your proposal a fresh new look. And redefining the styles in your InDesign document is a super quick way of applying your new formatting to all the text in your document. It's much quicker than manually changing all the text in your proposal. Our template reinvention isn't over quite yet. In the next lesson, we're going to take a look at colour in our proposal and give our template a really quick makeover that's going to make it look a bit more fun and edgy. Along with typography, colour is one of the most striking things that you can change about your proposal template. It's not reinventing the wheel, but a clever switch of colour can cast your proposal in a completely new light. So, for example, a punchy red might make a great fit for a tech brand, while more soothing tones of green might suit a proposal put together by a not-for-profit or an environmental business. So much more so than typography, colour has the power to transform the psychological impact of your proposal. So you can see it as a strategy for putting the reader into the right mindset for reading your proposal in a favourable light. But enough about psychology, let's get practical and creative as well. In this lesson, I'll show you how you can change a single accent colour in your proposal to lift and transform the whole design. Working still on our InDesign template, let's expand the swatches panel, which you can find at Window, Colour and Swatches. So we've already got a really nice classic set of monochrome themed swatches in here with a range of greys, blacks and off-whites. If you've got this already, my feeling is there's no need to change it. These are doing the hard work for you. They're adding subtle gradients of colour to different elements in your document. They're very inoffensive workhorses, so let them do their bit. The swatch or swatches that you want to look at changing are the accent colours. So you might just have one, as is the case here, or you might have a couple. And it is so easy to change this accent colour and to experiment with different colour combinations. So say, for example, we're not sure about this yellow. We might want something a bit cooler, a bit more modern perhaps. So to switch up the accent colour across your whole document, double click on the accent colour swatch in the swatches panel to open up the swatch options window. From here you can tweak the levels of cyan, magenta, yellow and black to create new colours. And as long as you have the preview box checked, you can instantly see the results live on the document. So try experimenting with different colours, what looks good with the fonts and the photos, what's going to give you enough contrast against the text. Something like a very punchy orange-red like cyan 0, magenta 80, yellow 79 and black 0 could give a nice edge to the document and makes the design look a bit more attention-grabbing. Or something more soothing like a pastel blue like cyan 48, magenta 0, yellow 14 and black 0 could also look really nice. Yeah, I think that looks really good. So when you've decided on your new accent colour, just click OK and you're done. It's that easy. If you want to add additional colours to your proposal, all you need to do is choose New Colour Swatch from the Swatches panel. So if you want to be more experimental with colours, such as using a different accent colour on each spread, you can do just that. It will just involve manually applying the swatches to elements. If you want to get even more creative with colour, you can also create gradient swatches, which blend 2 or more colours together to create a very on-trend effect. In the second half of the course, we'll take a more in-depth look about how to do this. But for now, we're continuing to adapt our proposal template and tweak little elements to big effect. In the next lesson, we're going to look at how you can edit master pages in your template, which are going to give your page numbers and running headers a completely different look. Page numbers and running headers might be small, but as they are likely to feature on every page of your proposal, they make a subtle but consistent impact on the design of your document. Editing master page content is quick to do, and as with redefining text styles, it has an instant effect across a wide range of pages. Still working on our template document, let's look at how you can edit the content of your master pages. So expand the Pages panel, go to Window Pages if it's not already open, and double click on the first master, which is here called D Master. Zoom into the top of the left-hand page so you can see the page number and header really well. We can see from the Styles panel that this also has a style applied to it. But first, let's get rid of that plus icon next to the style and reset it so we can start from a clean slate. So right-click on the name of the style, H3, and choose Apply H3 Clear Overrides. This is going to increase the font size, which is fine. Let's bring it down to 9 points. Let's also switch the font to Bergentext semi-bold and switch off the all caps. Okay, awesome. Now right-click on the H3 style and choose Redefine Style. Let's highlight the page number symbolised by a D because this is the D master, and switch the font colour to our new accent swatch from the Swatches panel. Now we can apply that style to the running header on the facing page. So select that text frame and click on H3 to apply it. Switch to the Type tool and from the top controls panel choose Align Right from the text alignment options. Okay, cool. So what else can we tweak? Well, these lines running beneath each header are fine, but we can add a bit more flair to them as well. We can adjust the look of these using the Stroke panel, which you can find in Window, Stroke. Select both lines of your selection tool cursor, and from the Stroke panel you can see that you can choose from a range of different styles under the Type menu. So you can go for dots or dashes or a wavy line. I actually really like the hash lines because these add a bit of subtle texture to a line and make them look a bit less digital and clean. So I'm going to go for straight hash. Okay, so with both the running headers and the lines beneath them reformatted, you can transfer these onto other relevant master spreads. So select all the elements sitting on the D master by dragging your cursor across the page and head up to Edit and Copy. In the Pages panel, double click on the F master to bring up this spread on screen. Delete the headers that are on there and then go to Edit and Paste in Place. Awesome! So by doing that, you've tweaked the look of the page numbers and running headers across all the inside pages of your document. Great job! In this section of the course, we've looked at different ways you can edit and customize a proposal template, making it more unique and creating a look for your proposal that ultimately looks like your own work, even if the foundations have been built by somebody else. Of course, this isn't the only way you can design creative proposals. It's simply a quick and easy way to help you save time. In the next section of the course, we'll look at how you can create your own completely unique and creative project proposals from scratch in Adobe InDesign. You'll learn how to create an effective cover, how to find stylistic inspiration for your layouts, how to create an engaging, consistent style across your document, and how to perform sophisticated print design tasks such as creating gradient swatches and type styles. So if you want to take your proposal design skills to the next level, make sure to stick around for the next lesson. I'll see you there. Hi there, welcome to this section of the course, how to create and design your own proposal layouts. So templates have their uses, but if you want to give your proposals a completely unique and creative look, you'll want to be able to create your own proposal documents from scratch. So in this section, we'll work towards creating a cover and 4 inside layouts for the proposal that's pictured here. And this is going to teach you how to set up the structure for your proposal, as well as how to source creative inspiration and apply your ideas in a professional, beautiful way to your layouts. In this lesson, we're going to start with creating a proposal document in InDesign and cover some of the basics for getting your document set up in the right way. So let's get started. With InDesign open, go to File, New and Document. Let's make sure Print is selected at the top of the window. So we're going to set up our proposal here with a US letter page size. If you're in Europe or elsewhere, the usual standard is A4, which is pretty similar, but for our purposes here, let's stick with US letter. So that's 8.5 inches for the width and 11 inches for the height. Make sure facing pages is checked to create spreads in your document. Now for the columns, so to create a grid on our pages, which will give us a bit of flexibility about where we can place text and image frames, let's give our document 4 columns with a 0.125 inch gutter. Okay, now for the margins. So one thing to remember is that if you're creating a print document with a large number of pages, you want to make sure that the inside margin, which is the margin nearest the spine, is slightly more generous than the outside. And this is going to allow for a bit of paper to disappear into the binding or fold in the centre of the spreads. So let's set the inside to 1 inch, the outside a bit less to 0.875 inches. Let's make the top the same, 0.875, and the bottom a bit more generous at 1.125 inches. If you're planning on having your proposal printed professionally, it's really important that you also include a bleed on your document. So this allows content to go past the trim edge of the page. So if your document is trimmed, not completely pin accurate, it's not going to be noticeable. So let's set that to 0.25 inches. Another thing to note is that you don't need a bleed on the inside edge of the page. So click on the little chain icon and remove any bleed from the inside edge. The final thing to think about is the number of pages you might want to have in your document, but don't worry about this too much at this early stage. You can easily add or delete pages as you work. So for now, let's just have 10 pages. Okay, cool. Now you're ready to click Create. So now we've got the basic proposal document set up with columns, good margins, a bleed, facing pages. So hop up to File and Save As, and save this file as Proposal in Progress. We'll be using this file throughout the next 10 lessons, so make sure to save it to a folder you can easily find again. If you want to head straight over to the next lesson, you can keep this InDesign file open. Next up, we'll look at how to set up masters for your proposal. Hi there, welcome back. So here we have our proposal in progress document open in InDesign, and our next task is to get some of the basics of the proposal sorted out. So these include the master pages, the sections and numbering in your proposal, and also the layers in your InDesign document. These are the things that are going to make your life way easier down the line when you start designing, so it's well worth taking just a bit of time to get these set up before you get into the more creative work. So let's start with the master pages in our document. So as we now know, these are the best places to put content that you want repeated across a number of pages. So that includes page numbers and possibly running headers as well. So for this proposal, we're going to set up just one master spread. So head over to the Pages panel and double click on the A master at the top, which has already been created for you as a pair of facing pages. Zoom into the top left corner of the left-hand page and switch to the Type tool by hitting T on your keyboard. Create a text frame centrally between the top margin line and the top edge of the page, with the left edge just extending past the left margin slightly. So type in a space and then a /, another space and then a header, which would usually be the title of the document. So for now, let's have Project Proposal. Set your type cursor at the start of the phrase, and here is the perfect place to drop in a page number. So go up to Type, Insert Special Character, Markers and Current Page Number. Awesome. So now we want to make a copy of this text frame for the right-hand page. So edit copy and edit paste the frame, and then move this second frame over to the right page, and InDesign will guide you with the same alignment. If you want to get it perfectly lined up to match the left-hand page, you can pull out guides from the left-hand ruler to mark out the margin, and a second for the left edge of the text frame. Then select both of these guides and copy and paste them and move them over to the right page, just like that. And you can shuffle that text frame into a mirrored position. Great. We'll come back to these headers in a few lessons' time and format them with a nice font and a different colour swatch. But for now, you just want to have the basics in place, so that's looking really good. If we go back to the Pages panel, we can see that by default, the A master that we've just been working on is applied to all the pages in our document. But we don't want the page numbers to appear on the front and back cover of our proposal, which are going to be these two single pages, page 1 and page 10. And also we're not going to need page numbers for the intro pages of our document, like the contents page, for example. So that's no problem. We can drag down the None master, which is up here at the very top of the Pages panel, and drop that onto pages 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then down also onto page 10. So now we just have the page numbers and headers on the relevant pages of our document. Awesome. To continue organising our document, the next thing to do is to decide how we want the document to be sectioned up. So for most proposals, this doesn't need to be that complicated. Most people just need numbered sections throughout the main body of the document, which start after the contents page. So let's look at how to do that. Let's say we want page 1 to actually start here on page 5. So to do that, right click on page 5 and choose Numbering and Section Options. Check Start Page Numbering At and put in 1. And click OK, and you might get a warning about repeating the same page number twice in your document. That's okay, we're going to sort that out. So now right click on the first page of your document at the top, and again choose Numbering and Section Options. Choose Start Page Numbering At, and as we did before, put in 1. But this time under the page numbering options, choose something different from the style menu. So it might be A, B, C, D, or Roman numerals. I'm going to go for lowercase Roman numerals, and then click OK. And now you've got two sections set up in your document, with page 1 beginning after the contents page, which we're going to place on the spread before that. Our housekeeping tasks are nearly over. There's just one more thing to do, and that is to set up the layers in our document. And this is going to mean that we keep all the content on our pages organised as we design. So to do that, go to the Layers panel. And remember that we've already placed some text on the master pages on this layer, so let's double click on layer 1 and rename it text. OK. Now click on the Create New Layer button at the bottom of the panel and double click on that, and let's rename this one background. Let's repeat to create another new layer above that, and let's call this one photos. And a final new layer at the top, which we're going to call shapes. And because we want some of the text, like page numbers for example, to always feature above other content, let's grab that text layer and drag that up to the top of the sequence. Awesome. Okay, great job. So the basic bones of your proposal are now in place, and you're ready to start moving on to more fun and creative tasks. So make sure to save your document. In the next lesson, we're going to look at how you can get your creative juices flowing and find some creative inspiration for your design. It's going to be fun, so stick around and I'll see you over there in the next lesson. Style is everything. Okay, not absolutely everything, but it sure can make a big difference to how well received your proposal is. Finding the right look for your proposal can be tricky. Perhaps you're working within an existing brand which already has colours and fonts you can use, or perhaps you're having to start completely afresh and have no idea about how to begin. In this lesson, I'm going to give you an insight into how I found the inspiration for the style for this proposal and share with you some ideas for how you can source inspiration for your own proposal designs, from choosing typefaces that look elegant and stylish to developing a colour palette that feels appropriate for your design. The variety of styles you could go for are potentially endless, so you need to have some foundation to help you narrow your ideas and develop a style that is the perfect fit for the type of proposal that you're producing. I can give you 2 things you need to think about before you start developing any creative ideas. So first of all, you need to consider the brand, if you have one, of your business, and take this into account when creating a stylistic look for your proposal. So if you have brand elements to work with, like colours, fonts, or even just a logo design, that should be the starting point of your proposal style. If you don't have an existing brand look, you can consider instead the ethos and USP of your business. Are you, for example, a young startup full of energy and enthusiasm, or a more corporate, formal business? So the type of business that you are and the type of services that you provide can help to point you in the right direction in terms of developing a style for your proposal. So the second and most important thing you need to think about is the audience for your proposal. These are the people looking at your proposal and deciding whether to go with you or go for what some other business is offering. If that audience feels like you're offering something that's presented in a way that's familiar to them, they'll be more likely to get on board with it. So for example, you might be a trendy design agency pitching a proposal to a more traditional corporate business. So you want to show that you can offer the corporate business something fresh and new, as otherwise they'd be looking to do the job in-house. But you also want to show that you understand their business. And style is a really important tool for striking this balance. So you might go for an energetic colour like acid yellow, but you might balance this with more serious black and white photography, or you might opt for a serif font instead of a modern sans serif to give your proposal design a more formal, traditional feel. Okay, so those are the two things to know and to keep in mind as you design: the identity of your own business and, more importantly, the identity of the recipient's business. Right, so where to look for inspiration? So I'm just going to show you a couple of online resources that I use quite a bit for sourcing inspiration for print design. So my first go-to is always Pinterest. And what I really like about Pinterest is that it blends visual content with the trending aspect of social media. So it's a good gauge of what's really popular. So it's handy if you want to create a design that's going to be on trend and is probably going to be well received by your reader as well. You might want to search for something broad like print design and look at the sorts of colours, fonts and layout styles that are popular. I'm seeing a lot of pastels and also neons. Gradients are really popular at the moment too. You can look to more trend-leading areas of design to pick up some fresh ideas as well. So try, for example, Advertising Design 2018 and see what you've got. So here there's a lot of strong block colours, big, bold sans serif type, creative ways of placing and editing photos. It's nice just to get really absorbed in all the creative work going on in different fields like advertising, and it might just trigger some ideas about colour, type or layout design for you. So pin or save any images that speak to you. Perhaps you like a certain kind of font or the way that particular photo has been framed or presented. The other site I go back to when I need a bit of inspiration is Behance. This is better for very new, cutting edge work, and obviously you never want to be plagiarising another designer's work. But it might be that a certain colour scheme catches your eye, or you would never have thought of using a particular type style with an image in a certain way. And often I find that by looking at lots of different creative images, you gradually keep being drawn to certain common traits across these images. And once you've collected them together, you can pull together different aspects from each and develop a good idea for the direction that you want to take your proposal in. Once you've gathered a mood board of images from sites like Pinterest and Behance, the next stage is to start formalising your ideas by choosing fonts and developing a colour palette, as well as drafting ideas about how to edit and frame images and the sorts of graphics such as shapes and patterns that you might want to include in your design. So I'm just going to show you the result of the inspiration that I gathered to give you an idea of how you could develop your own style ideas for proposals in the future. So this is the InDesign document that I've used to put together my ideas about the style that I want to use for the proposal, including the fonts, the colour palette, the photos, shapes, and also the way that the layouts are arranged. Let's take a look. So this is only my personal approach to developing my ideas about style. You may feel confident enough to dive right into applying your style ideas to the proposal document directly. But if you're lacking a bit of confidence, I think taking a bit of time to put together this sort of document is an exercise that's well worth doing. It can really help you to pull together your ideas and give you a sort of brand guidelines for your proposal, which you can refer to as you work. A PDF of this document is attached to this lesson, so you can download that and take a look later if you'd like to. So what I've done here is first decide on the font style that I want to use in the proposal. I wanted to use a sans serif, which feels clean and modern. I also wanted a font that had a corporate, smart look, but also felt friendly and really easy to read. And I found this font, which was BW Modelica on Envato Elements, and I just loved it straight away, and I thought it would be a really great fit. The inspiration that I was looking at online was probably most useful for getting ideas about the sorts of colours that I wanted to use in the proposal. I really love that combination of soft pastel colours with more bright primary colours, which will be the accent colours in the design. And a couple of off black and grey tones help to make the palette feel a bit more formal. Coloured gradients are also really trendy at the moment and I wanted to include them, but instead of creating a bi-colour gradient, I've opted to create a gradient with one bright colour and one grey swatch, which keeps it looking a bit more business appropriate. For the photos, I was inspired by colour overlays and I thought this would be a nice way of bringing together the colour palette and the images into a whole thing. Shapes can be a really great way of adding a bit more flair to layouts that are otherwise quite text heavy, and circles can be adapted to function as text frames and infographic elements. And a little rule that I've set for myself is to colour the circles with a gradient swatch to give them a slightly 3D look. Creating a uniform grid for your layouts is really important, and once you have a basic grid established, it's going to be easy for you to replicate that across lots of pages and give your intro pages and normal pages a more consistent look. So here I want to emphasise the contrast between the curves of the circle shapes and a more rigid quartered layout below. So it's actually really simple, just splitting each page into 4 sections across the centre point and then inserting images into one of those sections. And on top of that, we've got the circle shapes and white or grey type depending on the background colour below. Now, I'm not saying you have to produce anything like this document, but it can be helpful depending on how you work. It just gives you an insight into how I work and how you might think that aspects of that process might work well for you too or not. So in the next lesson, we're going to return to our proposal document in InDesign and put the style pictured here into practice. And our first task is going to be creating an eye-catching cover for our proposal. Hi there, welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to hit the ground running with designing our proposal. A great place to start is with the cover of your proposal. So in this lesson, we'll create an eye-catching and effective front cover, which is going to set the tone stylistically for the rest of the document. So before we begin, make sure to revisit the Envato Elements resources list, which is reattached to this lesson, and make sure that you've downloaded the fonts that we're going to use, which is BW Modelica and BW Glen Sans, and the photos that we'll be using in the design too. So pause the video if you need to take a look at that. You'll also find attached to this lesson an Adobe Swatch Exchange file. This contains the CMYK swatches that we'll be using in the design, so make sure to download that as well. And I'll show you here how to load the fonts into your InDesign document. So with your proposal in progress document open, go to the swatches panel and choose load swatches from the main menu. Navigate to where you've saved the downloaded ASC file, which is called proposal swatches, and click open. Okay, so now you have 5 new CMYK swatches in the panel ready to use. We're also going to create a couple of gradient swatches and also a tint swatch. So first, the gradient swatches. Choose New Gradient Swatch from the panel's menu. We can name this Red Gradient. We want the type set to Linear. And choose Swatches from the Stop Colour menu. Click on the left-hand stop on the ramp and choose the red swatch, which is Cyan 7, Magenta 100, Yellow 99, Black 1. For the right-hand stop, choose Black. And then click Add and Done. Okay, second gradient swatch, so New Gradient Swatch again. And this one is going to be Blue Gradient. Set the left-hand stop to your blue swatch, Cyan 75. And then move the stop over to around the centre of the ramp. And the right-hand stop for this one is going to be black again. Add and Done. Okay, awesome. One final swatch to add, which is going to be a tint swatch. So click on the black swatch in the swatches list, and this time choose New Tint Swatch from the swatches menu. On the tint slider at the bottom, pull this down to 90%, and then click Add and Done. Great. Okay, so with our swatches all created and ready to use, we can start creating our cover. So get the very first page of the document up on screen. And from the layers panel, make sure that the background layer is unlocked and active, and you can lock the other layers above that. Select the rectangle tool from the tools panel or hit M on your keyboard and drag from the top left corner to create a shape that fills about a quarter of the page, and you can use the column lines as a rough guide. From the swatches panel, set the fill colour of this to the 90% black tint and make sure that the stroke colour is set to none. And you can edit copy and edit paste this shape and move it directly below and change the colour of this to blue Cyan 75. Copy and paste again and move this up to the top right corner and extend the edge out to the bleed edge on the right side. And copy and paste one more time, moving this over the bottom right corner. Let's set the fill of this to that pale pink swatch Okay, so let's lock the background layer and unlock the shapes layer. Switch to the ellipse tool, which is L on your keyboard, and hold shift while you drag to create a large circle that's about 7 inches in diameter. Right, let's set the fill of that to the red gradient swatch. We want no stroke colour on this one. Let's position it over on the right side of the page centrally with about 2/3 of the circle off the page. Then go to Edit Copy and Edit Paste in Place. And change the fill of this top circle to the pale blue swatch, Cyan 28. Then switch to the scissors tool, which is C on your keyboard, and just snip once at the centre point of the circle on the left edge and once on the right side to split it in half. Then select the bottom half and hit delete on your keyboard. Okay, awesome. Then select both of these circles and edit copy and edit paste them. So on this copy, right click and transform and choose rotate 90 degrees clockwise, and then right click and transform and flip vertical. And move this pair of shapes up to the top centre of the page with about 1/3 showing on the page. Let's change the fill of the half circle to pale pink. Okay, so let's select this pair and copy and paste. And then right click, transform and choose rotate 180 degrees. Move centrally over the bottom of the layout, and then let's switch the fill of the half circle on the left side to 90% black. Okay, back to the layers panel. We can now add text to our cover, so lock the shapes layer and unlock the top text layer. So on your front cover, you might want to include a title, your business's name, and the name of the recipient. You might also want to put the date and some contact details like your website, phone number, etc. So take the type tool or hit T and create a text frame on the left side of the top half of the page and type in the title of the document. So to demonstrate here, let's type project, paragraph break and proposal. Add a little asterisk to that too. Let's up the font size to about 70 points and the leading to 80. And from the swatches panel, set the font colour to white, which is paper. Time to change the font, choose Modelica, medium, and then let's pull out just project in extra bold. Okay, great. So let's add the business name above. So a new text frame and type in the name. Let's set the font size to 35 points and the font to Modelica bold and a pale blue font colour. You can also add details like a trademark symbol, for example, from the glyphs panel, which you can find in Window, Type and Tables, and Glyphs. A good spot to add contact details is at the top. So here I'm going to type in the website and the phone number and apply the same font style with a 13-point size and switch the text to align right. Let's write up who the proposal is for below the main title and format that in the same style with a 15-point size and set this text in all caps. Let's set the date below in 13 points. Awesome, your front cover is looking great. Another thing you might want to add is a statement of confidentiality to the front cover if the proposal is intended to be seen by only a select person or group of people. And that's quite a nice professional touch, but it's not absolutely essential. And that's your cover done. Great job. So make sure to save your document as we'll carry on working on this in the next lesson, where we'll look at how to create type styles for your proposal. Hey there, so in this lesson we're going to look at how you can create type styles for your proposal. So we looked briefly at paragraph styles back when we were adapting the proposal template from Envato Elements. But instead of redefining existing styles, here we're going to have to create our own styles from scratch. The advantage of this is that once you have a few styles set up, you can easily repeat these across lots of text in your document, so they're well worth doing. In our proposal in progress document, let's make sure that the background layer is unlocked and scroll down to the second full spread of our layout, which starts on page 4 in Roman numerals. So we're going to format this 2-page layout and populate it with text, which we can then save as styles to use elsewhere in our document. So first up, let's add a bit of colour. So use the rectangle tool to create a shape across the whole of the left-hand page and set the fill of this to blue, which is cyan 75. Add another shape over the top left corner, setting the fill of this to 90% black. Lock the background layer and then unlock the shapes layer. So scroll up to the front cover and select the pair of circle shapes over on the right side and copy them. And then scroll back down to the spread that we're working on and edit and paste in place. Change the lower circle's fill to blue gradient and the top half circle to 90% black. Okay, let's lock the shapes layer and start working on the top text layer. So let's create a large text frame over the bottom right corner of the dark rectangle on the left page and type in the chapter number. Let's change the font colour to paper and change the font to Modelica Bold. Up the font size to 200 points and the tracking to 40. Okay, so this is going to be our first type style. So go to Window and Styles and Paragraph Styles and click on the Create New Style Group icon at the bottom of the panel. Let's name this Chapter. With the text highlighted, choose New Paragraph Style from the panel's menu. Let's name this Chapter Number and click OK. And that's it. So when you go to create a new chapter layout in your document, you can simply type in a number and then click on this style, and it will replicate all the formatting exactly as it is here. I'm going to add a little extra to this, just an asterisk for a little quirky touch. Okay, so let's keep going and just create a few more type styles. So create another text frame along the bottom of the left page and type in the chapter title, which is About Us. This is going to be Modelica Bold, an 86 points font size, 20 for the tracking, and a paper font colour. New paragraph style again. Let's name this one Chapter Heading and OK. Awesome. Let's create a pull quote at the top of the right-hand page. So new text frame. Type in your quote text. And this is going to be Modelica Bold, size 27 points. Up the leading to 38 points and the tracking to 20. And the font colour is going to be 90% black. Okay, so new paragraph style. This is going to be pull quote. Okay. You can also create multiple styles within a single text frame. So let's try that. Create a text frame below this pull quote. For now, you can go up to Type and Fill with placeholder text. Highlight the first paragraph and set that to Glen Sans Extra Bold, size 12 points, and the leading to 18 points. Let's set the tracking to 20 and set the text in all caps. Highlight all this text and set the font colour to 90% black. For the next paragraph down, set the font to Glen Sans Bold, size 9 points, leading to 15 points and tracking to 20. So to create two different styles in the same frame, let's just place our cursor into that first paragraph and choose New Paragraph Style from the Paragraph Styles panel and name this opening paragraph. Set your type cursor in the next paragraph down and again New Paragraph Style and name this one Body Text. OK. And to show you how you can apply styles to text, highlight the remaining text in that text frame and click on the body text style. And there we go, the formatting is copied over. So you can see how creating styles might take a bit of time, but actually you're going to save yourself loads of time by using them, especially if your proposal is going to be quite a long document. In the next lesson, we're going to continue to build up the design of our proposal and move on to creating a stylish contents page for your design. So make sure to save your InDesign file and keep it open if you're moving straight on to the next lesson. Hi there, so here we are in our proposal in progress document. And one thing that every proposal should have is a contents page. This is going to help your reader find relevant info quickly. They might want to show a colleague your financial breakdown or just take a quick glance at the people on your team. And a contents page is essential if you don't want them to get frustrated and toss your document to one side. People are busy, so you need to help them out. We're going to put the contents page on the first full spread of our document, which is Roman numerals page 2. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how you can create a simple and stylish contents page and how to use styles to create it really quickly. So let's get started. So on the background layer, use the rectangle tool to create a shape across the left page and set the fill of this to 90% black. Sorted. Okay, lock that layer and unlock the text layer. Let's get started with a heading. So using the type tool, create a text frame towards the top of the left page, spanning the columns, and type in table of contents. Let's set the font to Modelica Extra Bold, size 70 points, up the tracking to 40, and set the font colour to paper. In the Paragraph Styles panel, let's create a new style group and call it Contents. And choose New Paragraph Style. Let's call this Contents Heading. OK. New text frame over on the right page, type in Our Proposal. And click on the Contents Heading style to apply it. Obviously with the white colour we can't see it, so we can tweak it. A 90% black font colour. Let's set the text to align right as well. Okay, great. Now for the body of the content. So on the left page, use the type tool to create a long narrow frame about a third of the way down the page. Type in the chapter number and title, which is 01 About Us. The font colour is going to be paper, the font Modelica Bold, size 18 points, and the tracking to 20. And as before, new paragraph style, call this one Contents Subheading. OK. Okay, two ways to repeat this formatting. Cheat's way is to copy and paste the text frame and just adapt the text. Really quick to do. Or if you want to really learn how to use styles intuitively, you can create a new text frame below this one. Type in the next chapter number and title, which is O2 Meet the Team, and click on the Contents Subheading style to apply it. And then keep going until you have all your numbers and titles. Then you need to add page numbers, and personally I've got no problem with just manually typing in page numbers when you've got quite simple documents like proposals. Really long documents like books are a different matter, and for that you'd be looking at creating a TOC or a table of contents in InDesign, but here I don't think it's really necessary. So let's copy and paste the first chapter's subheading and move that over into a mirrored position on the right hand page, and just tweak the font colour to 90% black and switch the alignment to align right. And then you can either save this as a new paragraph style, or like I'm going to do here, just copy and paste the text frame until you've populated the page. And edit the page numbers. You can put these as X for now if you like, before you finish the whole document. A nice final touch might be to add lines beneath each subheading to make the contents list easier to read. So use the line tool to create one beneath the first subheading on the left-hand page. And let's set the stroke colour to paper. From the stroke panel, set the weight of the line to 2 points. And copy and paste that line, moving this below the second subheading. When you're happy that the alignment of both of these is the same, you can copy and paste the two lines as a pair and keep doing this until the page is filled up. Let's select all the lines on this page and copy and paste them and move them over to the right page into the same position, and change the stroke colour to 90% black to match the text over here. Let's not forget the little asterisk on the heading, and you're done. A really simple and stylish contents page. Just make sure to come back and update the page numbers here when you finish your document. Okay, great work so far. I hope you're enjoying creating your proposal, because we've got more to come. In the next video, we're going to look at how you can map out your proposal, which is going to let you know where content can be placed and give you a sense of how each of your layouts is going to look. So as always, make sure to save your InDesign document and we'll come back to it in the next lesson. Proposals can be lengthy. If you're working to a tight deadline, mapping out your proposal will help you to save time, and it will also help your proposal to look more consistent and professional as well. In the same way that master pages can help you to repeat content across a number of pages, working out a sort of model template for how you're going to arrange elements on your pages will mean that you can repeat this. Here I'm going to show you what I mean. So already you've created a cover for your proposal and a contents page. So now it's time to start thinking about how you want to structure the design of the inside pages of your proposal. So let's say you might want to have a particular layout style for the opening page of a chapter or section, and a different sort of layout for a page which contains more text. You might also want a page that looks a bit different so that it can accommodate, say, an infographic or statistics or a table. Once you have the structure of these few types of pages in place, you can repeat them across the whole document. It's a really quick way to populate your proposal quickly, and it means you won't be approaching each spread of your document completely fresh. So let's do some mapping on our proposal in progress document. So scroll down to page 4 of your document. On the left page, we're going to map out a page for the start of a new chapter, and on the right page, we're going to map out a page that will be suitable for having text on it. Let's start with the background of our opening chapter page. So lock the text layer and unlock the background layer. Select the rectangle tool, which is M on your keyboard, and create a shape across the whole of the left page, taking the edges up to the bleed and to the spine on the right side. Let's set the fill of this to your blue swatch, which is cyan 75. We're going to continue the theme of the sort of quartered look that we've established on the cover, so let's mark out the page into quarters. Pull out a guide from the left ruler to where the second column meets the third, dividing the margin area into 2. And then bring a guide down from the top ruler to 5.5 inches, which is the horizontal centre point of the design. Then use the rectangle tool to create a shape that fills the top left quarter of the page, bringing it down and across to meet those guides. And set the fill of this to 90% black. Copy and paste that rectangle and move it to the bottom right section of the page, and just reduce that width a bit to get rid of the bleed excess. Okay, that's the background mapped out. Let's add some text. So lock the background layer and unlock the top text layer. Create a large text frame across the bottom of the grey rectangle and type in the chapter number, which here is going to be 03. And we can come back to the styles that we created earlier for this. So go to the Paragraph Styles panel and click on the chapter number style. Awesome. Right, and a text frame across the bottom of the page for the heading. Type in the title, here it's going to be Project Specifications. And apply the chapter heading style to that. Okay, great. So this is now a basic template for an opening chapter page, and you can repeat this across other chapter pages. So to demonstrate, let's unlock the background layer and have the text layer unlocked too. And select everything on that page and edit, copy it. Scroll up to the previous spread, which starts on page 2 of your document, and edit and paste in place. And you can just tweak this slightly to give the page a little bit of difference while keeping that same consistent layout. Let's get rid of the shape on the bottom right and change the fill of the large rectangle at the back to red, which is cyan 7. And lighten up the colour of the top left shape to your pale grey swatch, cyan 38. Let's edit the text. So this is going to be chapter 2, 02. And the title for this chapter is going to be Meet the Team. This spread is going to be a bit quirky and use circles as part of the design. So let's lock both the background and text layers and unlock the shapes layer. Scroll up to the front cover page and select the red circle shape over here on the right side and edit, copy it. Back down to our chapter 2 page and edit, paste that circle onto the page. And position over the top right corner of the left hand page, just lining it up with the horizontal center guide and letting it overlap just slightly onto the right hand page. Awesome. We're going to come back to the spread in a later lesson and take a look at how best we can present the team photos, but for now head on back down to the chapter 3 spread. Now there are going to be a lot of pages in your proposal that will need to contain text, and these might not be the most exciting pages to design, but it's still important that these have a professional, attractive look. So we can use the grid we established for the left-hand page. So unlock the background layer and select the 2 guides crossing the page and copy and paste them. Okay, shuffle them over so the vertical guide is in the centre of the 4 columns on the right-hand page. Then select the 2 dark grey rectangles on the left-hand page and copy and paste them. We need to flip these to make them fit just right, so right-click and transform and flip horizontal. And move this over into position just like that. Okay, so let's change the fill of the top right shape to blue to match the main accent colour of the left page. Okay, looking good. So let's say for consistency and just to make your life easier, you're always going to want these 2 top sections of the right hand page to be filled with body text. And you'll always fill this bottom right section with either a pull quote or statistics or something like that. Let's create a couple of text frames for this right hand page. So working on the text layer, take the type tool and create a text frame over the top left corner using the margins as a guide. And then create a second frame over the top right corner. Let's link these 2 frames by clicking on the small square at the bottom right of the first frame and clicking once onto the second frame. And you can check these frames are linked by going to View, Extras and Show Text Threads. Let's input some sample text and set these as styles too. So type in a subheading, which is going to be Our Solutions, and then a paragraph break, and for now head up to Type and Fill with placeholder text. Let's set the font of everything here to Glen Sans Bold, size 9 points, and up the leading to 15 points. The tracking to 20. Let's change the font colour to 90% black. Let's make the subheading bigger at 17 points and make it a bit bolder too. Let's go for extra bold. Okay, now for the styles. So for the heading, let's choose New Paragraph Style from the Styles panel and name this one Title. Okay. We've already got the body text style saved, so we can just apply that by clicking on it. You can add little adjustments to the text to improve readability. So for example, we can highlight just the text over in this text frame and give that a white font colour to improve contrast. And we can leave the space on the bottom right for more custom content such as statistics and things like that. So as we did with the left-hand page, you can use this simple layout that you've established as a sort of template for creating other pages. You can copy the background colour and the text frames and paste them in place on other right-facing pages. And now you have this grid, you can switch up little elements to create variety while keeping the general layout consistent. So you might want to change the colour of the background shapes or the text, or swap in an image here. What I hope this lesson has shown you is how by mapping out the grid for a couple of pages in your document, without spending too much time on bringing in specific content like copy or images, you've now got a template you can copy over to other pages. So it's a really great time-saving solution, and it's also going to give your proposal a consistent and professional look. Make sure to keep saving your progress. We're really starting to build up a great design for our proposal. In the next lesson, we'll keep working on this spread and have a look at how you can adapt some of the shapes that we've already created for presenting facts and statistics in a more interesting way. Proposals can at times be a bit dry. You've got to present financial breakdowns as well as stats about your business. Sure, you could pop these into your body text, but it's much better if you can pull out key facts and figures in a more interesting, engaging way for your readers. Now that we've created a sort of brand look for our proposal, we can lift elements of this to help build our graphics. So in our proposal in progress document, we're going to keep working on this chapter 3 spread. Unlock the shapes layer and scroll up to the chapter 1 spread for a moment. Select the blue circle and edit and copy it. Then move back down to page 5 and edit and paste it. Hold Shift while you scale this down to about 1.5 inches diameter. On the text layer, let's create a text frame over the top of this and set the font to Modelica Bold, 29 points font size, and up the tracking to 40. Let's change the font colour to paper. So we can type in a number such as 96.7% and create a new text frame to the right of this explaining that statistic. So for example, of visitors to our apps would recommend them to a friend. Let's set the font of this to Glen Sans, size 9 points, leading to 15, tracking to 20, and the font colour to 90% black. Okay, so this is a little ready-made graphic you can use for other stats. Let's select the circle and the text frames and copy and paste them and move it below. We can create a little title above this reading Our Stats and set the font to Modelica Extra Bold, size 24 points, and set the tracking to 20. So it's a really simple idea, but basically you can use this formula of circles with text to create statistics that look a bit more interesting. And it's also a really good visual technique for drawing attention to stats that might be particularly enticing or interesting for the reader. In the next lesson, we're going to use this technique again, but this time to create a stylish way of presenting some of the images in our design. So save your document and we'll take a look at how to use images in your proposal in the next video. Hey there, welcome back. So our proposal is really starting to come together, and now we've got some of the structure of the pages mapped out. We're ready to start dropping in more specific content into our design. One of these things is going to be images. So you might want to refer back to the Envato Elements resources list before watching this lesson if you haven't already downloaded the images on that list. If you prefer to just watch the video, that's fine, but it's helpful if you can also follow along by using the images that I'm also going to be using here. So let's make a start on our images. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of formatting the images in your proposal. So even though you can't do some advanced photo editing in InDesign, you can create colour overlay effects and also place your images into unusual frame shapes, which are just going to make your photos look that bit more professional and creative. So first up, let's create a colour overlay effect for some of our images. I say overlay, but actually you can create this effect in InDesign by playing around with the transparency settings of image frames. Scroll up to the Chapter 1 About Us page and then unlock the Photos layer. Switch to the rectangle frame tool. You can hit F on your keyboard and create a shape at the bottom right corner of the left-hand page. Then go to File and Place and find the image from Envato Elements that's called Design Studio Architect, Creative Occupation PRJ LE7N, and open it. And you can click inside the frame to directly select the image and move that about, making sure to hold down Shift to scale it. Okay, so that's looking fine, but we can give this a slightly cooler look by playing around with the transparency settings. Select the image frame and head up to Object, Effects and Transparency, and from the Mode menu choose Multiply, and that's going to bring through some of that colour below. Awesome, okay. And you can repeat this effect really easily by copying and pasting the image frame, so let's edit, copy it. Scroll on down to the Chapter 3 page and paste in place. Let's extend the width across so that this becomes one large frame across the spine. And we'll also want a different image here, so go to File and Place and choose the image called Design Studio Architect, Creative Occupation PBAGSMN, and open. Delete any dark shapes that are sitting behind this on the background layer. And this gives a nice duotone sort of look with the full colour image still intact on the right side. That's a really simple and nice way to display images in your proposal design, but we can also get a bit more creative with the shape of the image frame. Scroll up to the Chapter 2 page, which is the Meet the Team page. And over here on the right, we're going to place headshots of the team, but instead of setting these in the normal boxy frames, we can use the shapes that we've already created to make it look a bit more creative. Unlock the Shapes layer and copy and paste this big red circle, and let's scale that down to about 1.9 inches in diameter. Position it centrally between the second and third columns with the top edge on the margin line, and copy and paste that and move the copy over to the left at the same alignment up to the left margin, and paste again and pop this over on the right side up against the right margin line. Bring a guide down to about 4.1 inches. Then select all three circles and copy and paste them and move them below with the top of them resting on the guide. And then paste again, and InDesign will indicate to you where to drop these to get the rows of circles all evenly spaced out. So let's say we've got 6 team members to drop in here. So some of these circles can stay as they are and others will have images in them. So let's select the first 2 circles on the top row. Hold down Shift while you select the circle on the left side of the middle row and the one on the right side of the middle row, and also the left and middle circle of the bottom row. With these selected, head up to Object and Effects and Transparency. Set the mode to Multiply and bring the opacity down to 55%. Okay, right, now for the images. So lock the Shapes layer and unlock the Photos layer below. Choose the Ellipse Frame tool and holding down Shift, drag to create a circular image frame. And let's get that to the same dimensions as the coloured circle above. And File and Place. Choose one of the headshot images that you've downloaded and open. And get that scaled nicely. Okay, cool. Then we can copy and paste that image frame and position behind the next circle, and File and Place. Choose a different portrait and open, And just keep pasting more image frames and setting those behind the transparent circles and replacing the images as you go. And beneath the images, we can put a little caption for the name and job title, setting this in Glen Sans medium, font size 12 points, leading 18 points and tracking 20. And set the text to align center and the font color to 90% black. Awesome, so we've created two different ways of presenting the images in our proposal while still maintaining a consistent look. So all the images have a colour overlay effect and the frames either match the quarter grid that we've established or they're set inside the circle shapes that's also a consistent feature of our design. So everything's looking really good and professional. And now you've got all the building blocks in place to create a lengthier version of your proposal. I'm not going to create a full-length proposal with you in this course, but only because A, that would take quite a bit of time, and B, you've now got the main elements in place to copy and paste onto other spreads, and just tweak a few things like colour and copy to create new pages. If you'd like to see the finished version of the proposal, which is pictured here, you can download the PDF version which is attached to this lesson and have a look at the design in more detail if you'd like to. So let's say you finish your proposal, you've run it past your colleagues to check that everybody's happy with the copy and the images, and you're ready to send it off to be printed. In the next lesson, we're going to look at best practice for prepping your proposal artwork for printing. And this stage is really important, particularly if you're going to be getting it printed professionally. So stick around and we'll talk about how to pre-flight your proposal in the next video. Hey there, we've covered a huge amount over the last few lessons, and by this point your proposal should really be starting to come together. For the purposes of this course, we're not going to spend too much time building up the content of our proposal, because once you have the design in place, it's really easy to fill in text and images as you work. So let's say that your proposal artwork is finished. In this and the next lesson, we're going to talk about how to translate your proposal from artwork on your screen to a physical printed document. Creating a digital version of a proposal is really simple, and you can simply export your artwork as a PDF. But if you're looking to send your artwork off to be professionally printed, you'll need to take a few extra steps. In this lesson, we're going to look at how to pre-flight your InDesign document. Performing a pre-flight simply means that you do a kind of health check over your document. It highlights any issues of missing fonts or images and whether all the colours you're using are optimised for print. So let's look at how to do it. Okay, so you can access the pre-flight panel in InDesign from the bottom of the workspace. You'll either have a little green circle here with a no errors sign, which is good news, or you'll have a little red circle with a number of errors in the document. Obviously, errors are not good, but they're really easy to fix, so it's nothing to worry about. I'm going to show you a common example of an error that you might encounter in pre-flight and show you how you can fix it. One of the things that's really easy to miss, especially when you're working with text-heavy documents, is text overflowing text frames. So if, for example, this text frame is too short to accommodate the text inside it, the pre-flight colour will switch from green to red. So then what you do is you double-click on the errors text to open up the pre-flight panel. So we can see that this is a text error, and expanding this we can see that it's specifically a problem with overset text. Expand again and you can see the page where this error is occurring. If you click on that page, it's going to take you directly to the problem and highlight the frame so you can get the text frame expanded. And once you've done that, pre-flight will check if there's still an issue, and if it's all okay, we'll go back to the green no errors at the bottom. So really your goal with pre-flight is to make sure that you always have a green no errors symbol in the panel. Other errors you might encounter would be a missing font file, which just requires you to search for either the font or a replacement font. Broken image links can also happen if you move images between folders. Again, this is easy to sort out from the pre-flight panel. One other thing you need to check, which won't be flagged up by the pre-flight panel, is the colour modes that you're using in your document. In our previous lesson about colour, we only created and used CMYK swatches, which are suitable for print. But you still need to check if any stray RGB swatches have cropped up in the swatches panel, as these are meant to be used only for digital design, not print. It's easy to spot an RGB swatch, so let's take a look. So in the swatches panel, for demo's sake, I'm going to change one of our CMYK swatches to an RGB swatch, like that. So you can see here that the little square symbol to the right of the swatch has switched from a 4-colour diamond, which is the CMYK symbol, to a 3-colour stripe symbol. So before you export your proposal for printing, you need to make sure that all the swatches in the panel have the diamond CMYK symbol and that no RGB swatches are present. It's really easy to switch an RGB swatch to CMYK. Just double click on the RGB swatch and choose CMYK from the Colour Mode menu before clicking OK. So once you've checked your swatches and made sure no errors are showing up in your pre-flight panel, your print prep stage is done and you're ready to export your document as a print-ready PDF. In the next lesson, we're going to export our artwork, which is the final stage in creating our proposal, and the last practical lesson of the course. So you're very nearly at the end and you've worked super hard. Exporting your document is going to be really satisfying, so I'll see you over there in just a moment. Welcome to the final practical lesson of the course. After InDesign gives you the green light in pre-flight, you're ready to export your artwork as a print-ready PDF. If you're planning on sharing your proposal over email instead, this is easy to do, so I'll just show you first how to do that. You might even want to provide people with a digital copy as well as a print copy, so they can have it to hand on their laptops or tablets. So first thing to do is to head up to File and save your document. Then back into the File menu and choose Export. You can name the file and then from the Format menu at the bottom choose Adobe PDF Interactive and click Save. Because we want readers to see 2 pages at once, as you would in the print copy, make sure Spreads is checked. You can keep the other settings as they are unless you want to add fancy page transitions or anything like that. From the compression options, you can choose the quality of the JPEGs in your PDF, so we might want a high quality, but we might also want to bring the resolution down to 72, which is the usual resolution for screen viewing, to help save on some space in the file. And then when you're ready, click Export. You'll get a warning message about converting CMY colours to RGB for interactive PDFs, but generally this is not going to be much of a problem, so you can click OK. And this interactive PDF can be attached to an email, or you could upload it onto your website or something like that. Okay, so really we've designed this proposal with printing in mind, so let's look at the process for exporting this artwork as a print PDF, which is a bit of a different process and needs a few more steps. So as we did before, go to File and Export, and this time choose Adobe PDF Print from the Format menu and click Save. Okay, so we've got a few more options to deal with here. From the top preset menu, you're going to want to choose Press Quality, which is going to give you the highest quality for your PDF. Under Pages, make sure All is checked. And in contrast to the interactive PDF, you'll want this print PDF to be exported as individual pages because the document is going to be bound together after printing. So make sure Pages is selected, not Spreads. The next thing to check is the Marks and Bleeds option, so click on that in the left-hand menu. Different printers prefer different things, but generally it's pretty safe to check all printers' marks, but you can check with your printer beforehand whether they want things like the colour bars and registration marks. And under the Bleed and Slug section, check Use Document Bleed Settings. And you'll see here that because we set the pages to not have a bleed on the inside edge, InDesign is remembering this and setting this to 0 inches. And that's it. So once you've added the bleed to the PDF, you can go ahead and hit Export. Awesome, so you can really see the quality of this PDF. The images are really crisp and the colours look great. So you can send this document straight off to the printers, and it might be helpful to print off a basic mock-up of your document for them, so you can show them exactly how you want the pages to be arranged. And then you're going to end up with a box full of wonderful printed proposals which are ready to send off to your client, and I'm sure they're going to be really impressed. We've very nearly come to the end of the course, and one thing I just want to leave you with is that you can download the final PDF of this proposal artwork, which is attached to this lesson, so you can take a good look at how I've arranged the design, and hopefully this will give you some help and inspiration for creating your own proposals in the future. Make sure to stick around for the next and final video of the course. during which we'll take a recap of all the print design techniques that you've picked up during the lessons, and we'll look at some suggestions for how you can develop your new skills even further. Hi there, you've reached the end of this Envato Tuts Plus course, How to Design a Project Proposal in InDesign. We started out by looking at how you can use downloadable templates as great foundations for creating elegant proposal designs, and how by switching up elements like colour and type styles, you can give your layouts a completely fresh look that feels a bit more unique. While this is a great way to save time and you can still end up with a fantastic final result, it's really important that you also build confidence of being able to create your own print artwork in InDesign from the ground up. And once you know how to set up masters and things like establishing grids for pages and creating your own type styles, you can really build up towards creating a completely unique design that's a true reflection of how you want your proposal to look. In this final video, I just want to run through a quick recap of some of the awesome print design skills that you've picked up over the course and remind you how much you've learned and also how you can take further steps to developing your design skills. So we've covered a huge range of print design and layout design skills over the course of the lessons, and these are just a few of them. So you can now adapt existing InDesign templates, editing colour and type to create a more unique design very quickly. You also now know how to create print documents from scratch in InDesign, setting up page sections, master pages, and establishing a general grid layout for your pages. You also know how to use colour and fonts to create an eye-catching cover for your proposal, as well as how to establish a brand look for the inside pages of your document. We also looked at how to create our own unique graphics in InDesign using the shape tools and gradient swatches, which add a really interesting and stylish angle to layouts. You also now know how to format typography to an advanced level and use type styles to repeat this formatting easily across long documents. You should also now have more confidence with working with images in InDesign and how to give them a more unique flavour by creating colour overlay effects and setting them inside unusual frame shapes. And a really essential skill for any print designer, you now know how to prepare your InDesign artwork for printing by performing a pre-flight and exporting your work correctly as a press-ready PDF. So that's a huge amount of stuff, and I think you should be really, really proud of what you've achieved. Even though we focus specifically on creating proposals in this course, these skills actually translate to a wide range of tasks, such as creating magazines, books, brochures, and zines. So I hope this has given you a taster of what you can achieve in Adobe InDesign, and also given you the confidence to try out creating different sorts of multi-page documents for print. My name is Grace Fussell. I've been your instructor for this course, and it's been really great to have you on board. Make sure to check out the other course offerings from Envato Tuts Plus, and don't forget you can also find a huge range of graphics, fonts and print templates over on Envato Elements for using in your designs. A big thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon.